Welcome to the Daily Plunge. We are in the prophet Ezekiel, chapter 16, verses 1 through 34. He says to Ezekiel, O mortal, O son of man, I want you to go confront Jerusalem, tell her about her abominations, help her understand that, confront her for her detestable, unrighteous practices. Now Jerusalem thought that they were chosen of God and could not be worthy of judgment because they were God's chosen. But he says, you're from pagan stock. You're a Canaanite city, and they originally were a Jebusite city. Your birth was not spiritual; it was natural, and it is only through the work of God that Jerusalem was made the capital of Israel. Otherwise, she was neglected and unwanted, left exposed, because that's what they would do to children they didn't want. They'd be left out in the wilderness to die of hunger or disease or whatever, and was not bathed or cared for. And at first, the Jews did not conquer Jerusalem. It wasn't until the Lord sent his anointed King David that the Lord saw Jerusalem and rescued Jerusalem so that the city would live and prosper and would receive the blessings and benefits of belonging to the Lord, that the Lord would be her betrothed, her husband. She is to be his bride. And really, much of this language we can understand in light of how the church is to be the bride of Christ. And we hear that language especially in the book of Revelation. And so the Lord claimed her in marriage. He spread his garment over her to cover her shame and her nakedness. And, as a groom does to his bride, the Lord lavished gifts upon Jerusalem and made her a great city. And her fame and beauty was well renowned, right, through King David and Solomon. And he warned her time and again not to forget the Lord. But Jerusalem, instead of delighting in the Lord, delighted in all his blessings, went after all his blessings. And eventually Jerusalem trusted in her own alleged beauty. And her real beauty was that she belonged to the Lord God. But she didn't see that that her beauty really was in the eyes of the beholder, the Lord. And so Jerusalem felt like she was married to the gifts, not the one who gave the gifts, the Lord. And so she committed spiritual adultery, going after every other pagan god, going after every pagan nation. And Jerusalem's eye was turned away. She decorated herself with pagan worship, and used her wealth and gifts for that. And in fact, it talks about having male idols with which she prostituted herself, and probably allowed for male prostitution in the temple. But even worse, verse 20, you sacrificed your children to these idols. And they're not your children, they're my children, and you sacrificed them. You aborted them. And you forgot how the Lord had rescued you, and you were such an eager promoter of these false gods. And where you're, as a prostitute, you're supposed to get paid. You were paying other people to have sex with you, to have this idolatrous relationship with you. And the Lord cried out to his bride, you have debased yourself, and so I'm going to bring judgment on you because you are rebellious against me. Well, hey, thanks, friends. Please like, share, and have a blessed day.